Well, I got this one done a little sooner than I expected. I've covered the first, now it's time to cover the second studio album from Saint Asonia. This one's called Flawed Design, but let me tell you, it's practically the polar opposite of flawed. Now enjoy the intro for the next 10 seconds or so. So there was a bit of a wait between Saint Asonia self-titled and Flawed Design's release, about 4 years in fact, as Flawed Design came out in late 2019. But hearing the album, that wait was definitely worth it. Of course, I also had the added bonus of only discovering the band around the time that this album was released, so I didn't really have to worry about waiting, but I imagine if I had to wait, then I would consider the wait worth it. So the tracklist for this album is Blind, Sirens, This August Day, The Hunted, Ghost, Beast, The Fallen, Another Fight, Flawed Design, Justify, Martyrs, and like last time, some releases feature the bonus tracks Say Goodbye and Weak and Tired. There are also 2 guest vocalists on the album, with Sharon Den Adele featuring on Sirens and Sully Erna on The Hunted, and they are both brilliant in what they're doing on here, trust me. One thing that I think is immediately noticeable from the get-go is that this album is not like the previous one at all. Self-titled was, while still being heavy from a lyrical and instrumental standpoint, a very slow, serious and moody album. Flawed Design also has a similar level of heaviness, but it leans much more into the bombastic and wild side of things. Yay! Sorry, I won't be doing that again. The scale of this album's soundscape is just immense as well. I know it's an abstract description, but I always get the feeling that these songs are taking place in some infinite wide open space. That's probably the best I can manage in terms of expressing just the sort of feeling this album has, really. Every song on here is either kick-ass in a very punchy sort of way, or has an infallible knack of sucking you into its captivating soundscape both emotionally and musically. Not gonna lie, I was genuinely struggling to write the script for this video because I just couldn't pull myself away from the songs long enough to type full sentences. So suffice to say, this is one of the most immersive music experiences I've ever listened to. I'd probably place it amongst my other favourite albums of mine that I've reviewed before, like Breaking Benjamin's Dear Agony and Ember, and 3 Days Grace's Life Starts Now. And honestly, this is probably the first album I've ever reviewed where I really don't have any negative things to say about it, like at all. The only criticism I can conjure up is that it's only 43 minutes long, 50 with the bonus tracks. I know that's an average length for a rock album, but for one as good as this, I just wish it lasted forever. This album, like most, boasts a nice variety of songs. There are the heavier tracks like Blind, This August Day, The Hunted and Beast, which have the more serious, no-nonsense edge that you'd expect from the heavy end of this genre. Sirens in particular is a hauntingly gorgeous song. Adam and Sharon's vocal collaboration works so well, and the added piano keys at certain points just give this song a beautiful quality, and personally the song really fits, I think, with the current world being in a weird place of uncertainty about the future. This August Day is a song with a lot of emotional backstory, as it was inspired by Adam Gontier missing the birth of his son due to being hospitalised after a relapse of drinking and substance abuse. He really did a good job of pouring the emotional weight of that into this song. And The Hunted is just a downright blood-pumping track that makes you feel as though you are being hunted with full adrenaline and all. There's more of the cathartic slower tracks like the last album on here as well, but they've been sort of obviously altered to fit with the different style of this album. Another Fight and Martyrs are probably the 2 main ones of these that I point out. Both are stunning in just about every way. Martyrs in particular is a track that just says, "We've been through a lot of shit, but there's better times coming on ahead, so just hold on." The Fallen is a brilliant song about mourning the dead that's both sad and uplifting in a bittersweet way. The title track Flawed Design is another stroke of genius too. I know lyrically it's meant to hold more of a personal meaning between 2 people, probably in a relationship, because like 95% of all music is about that for some reason. But the other meaning that I got from it is that the song is exploring the idea that life isn't forever, human civilization will one day end and be forgotten to the horrors of time, and yet we still spend our time bickering and taking sides against others of our species. That's a really powerful message that this song is given out, and it really resonates with me personally. Ghost is possibly my favourite song from the album, assuming that it's even possible to have a favourite because they're all so damn perfect. Its epic, reverberating soundtrack and the big bombastic moments coupled with the general flow of the song are just orgasm-inducing. It also uses piano notes like in Sirens, and again they give parts of the song a sort of ethereal, angelic feel in those quieter parts. And the way it just crescendos at the end is too good to put into words. I won't even try. And all the other songs I haven't mentioned in detail but are just as every bit as fantastic as the rest, I'm sure I could find words to discuss them, but honestly I think you can probably guess what my thoughts are on them judging by what I've said already. I don't think I can really do this album justice just by talking about it, so I'd recommend you just go and listen to it for yourselves to get the full experience. Now, picking favourites was genuinely an impossible task for Flawed Design, but I forced myself to really narrow down the best of the best and make sure I didn't include all 13 tracks in this section. Partly to avoid being copyright claimed to oblivion, but also partly to avoid looking like a complete indecisive fanboy.
We're all in this together, but nothing lasts forever. This is not the end. Are you listening? I'm taking chances one by one until the moment when we find a way. It's the way life goes when we are waking up. We can take someday, some way, if we could find the words to say, there'd be no more fighting, no taking sides. Run away from the past as they slow in my memory. I'm making my way away from you. We better find a way to make it all come down. Better find a way to make it all work out. Better find a way to make it all drop down. Better up here. Our eyes show pain and regret. We lost ourselves, we lost our souls. Searched everywhere and we're never getting out.
That was the best I could do there, I think. Just know that if I could put the whole album up as my favourites, then I would. But really that would kind of look stupid and defeat the point of having a favourite section in the video in the first place. Overall then, this is a perfect album for me, possibly the most perfect one I've ever heard, although weirdly not quite making it to my favourite of all time spot. With that said though, it gets a well-deserved 5 meditating apocalypse guys out of 5. So what did you think of Saint Asonia's Flawed Design? Comment your thoughts below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, and this will probably be the last album review for a while now, as I don't really have any more albums that I've listened to enough to want to do reviews on. That being said though, 3 Days Grace are releasing a new album in May next year, and I think Saint Asonia are talking about releasing something new as well, so hopefully next year I'll have at least 2 more album review videos coming, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. But until then, I bid you farewell. Maybe I'll see some of you in the next video on this channel, maybe not. Regardless though, it's goodbyes from me and have a good day or something. Bye!